That's fire. Okay, let's hop into question 3. I think I came upon you. I was looking at where are the black designers, and I feel like I ran into your name somehow, and then I ran into Useful School. So my next question is like, what made you start Useful School, and what was kind of like the blueprint or the inspiration for it?
So, yes. First of all, shout out to Where the Black Designers. It was started in 2020. I've been a volunteer for a little while now. The administrators, the volunteers, the entire community is incredible. Obviously, centers Black designers, helps them get jobs, helps them get promoted, things like that. If anybody's not part of the Slack or or following on Instagram, definitely check out Where the Black Designers. Um, I started Useful School. Um, it was a slow but very concerted process to starting. So let me take you back to 2019. 2019, I was a speaker at the Brand New Conference. The Brand New Conference at the time had taken place in Las Vegas. It's run by Armin and his wife, and they have a great blog called the Brand New blog under this umbrella organization called Under Consideration. It's my favorite website basically for branding. I visit it pretty much every single day to kind of look at brands and reviews of brands, the before and afters, things like that. And I know actually you've interviewed
Yep.
The Chutzpah founders, right?
Yep.
The two sisters, right? And their work has been featured on
All
Brand
over
New
it.
a million times.
Yeah.
So, anyways, shout out to them. So I, during 2019 at the Brand New Conference, I shared, when I was speaking, I shared about my rebrand that I did with Sagmeister Walsh called Pet Plate. It was a dog food brand.
Yep.
And as part of that presentation, I spent about half the time talking about the problems within the design industry. The fact that there are structures about the branding industry that are in place and have been placed for years and will continue to unfortunately be in place that are preventing people of color, queer folk, and other historically excluded groups from thriving. I basically took a lot of the data that the AIGA and Google survey had done previous to that speech. I crunched some of the numbers in Excel document, did some pivot tables. Again, going back to that whole data analytics thing we were talking about earlier. And I realized that there's a decent amount of people that are leaving the industry due to discrimination. And there's also, and we could just see it, we know it, we feel it. We don't necessarily need a number to know that there's a lack of POC in the design industry as well. There's a lack of POC entering the industry. There's a lack of POC actually moving up in the industry to provide decision leadership, that kind of thing. So after I did the speech, I was on this crazy adrenaline rush, and I ended up linking up with a couple of people. There was my future boss, who I didn't know at the time, D-Roy, who runs a dope studio called Hyperakt.
Okay.
And also ran into Forrest Young, who at the time was the chief creative officer of Wolf Allens. He was there as the keynote speaker to talk about the Uber rebrand that he led, and he absolutely killed it on. And I mentioned to both of them, really quickly, I'm thinking about how we could help POC and other historically excluded groups get more gigs and all that kind of stuff and all that kind of stuff. And D-Roy was vibing, and he was really, really excited about it. And then I end up linking up with Forrest. Forrest at the time was you gotta do something about it. You gotta do something about it. How can I help? Blah, 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 blah. We ended up having hanging out the whole weekend. We ended up going dinner. We ended up hanging out, just really vibing. He ended up becoming a mentor of mine for this. And he's like, Ritesh, you better do this. You got to do something about it. I want you to make something happen. And I was like, I got you.
Love
So
that.
I essentially took a little while, a month or two afterwards, just thinking of what could this look like? What could this look like? I ended up creating something that looked entirely different from what Useful School looks like today. But essentially, at the time, I had this idea of what if I combine Instagram stories with TikTok? So you can swipe up and down, you can go left and right to hear all these different people talk about different topics and give different advice and all this kind of stuff. And it was a cool idea, but at the time, 2020 hit. I wasn't sure, and COVID unfortunately hit, and I wasn't sure if I could get that idea off the ground in the way that I wanted to. So I ended up just kept thinking, and then fast forward to like 2021, I was like, all right, I think I got the model down, which is what Useful School is now, which is essentially the world's first online, people of color centered design school that's focused on basically people who need it, people of color, and it's pay what you can. So that's the iteration I came up with. I ended up like announcing it in late 2021. Hustled, and here we are right now. I'm basically doing Useful School full time, and I'm absolutely thrilled with the results. We've had about 100 students go through our programs right now, and the students are incredible. They deserve all the flowers. And we focus right now on product design, branding, and we also have our 2 new classes coming up about financial wellness and decolonization and divestment. So I'm really stoked about what community we've built, and the fact that, you know, during the classes we meet weekly on Zoom. Nearly every single week is not only with me, but also with a special guest that we have. And we've had a variety of just incredible guests come through. We do workshops, we do crit, we teach lessons, all that kind of stuff. And by the end of 12 weeks, we have like better portfolios. People are getting gigs. People are getting both gigs that are in terms of full-time, part-time, freelance, all that kind of stuff. So I'm stoked with like the thing that's been happening, and the fact that we just have incredible community built around us.
That's dope. That's so dope. I appreciate you for even like doing it, like going in, because there's one thing to be like, oh, well, I think we should put a fix to this. But people who are actually like problem solvers and figure it out, those are the people that move the world. Like, I so much respect, so much appreciation, especially being a black designer and like seeing how hard it is. Like, it's literally like, this is my second time being freelance. And the first time I had to like go into a job because I didn't have enough connections or have enough understanding of what this even was. So to be given an opportunity to learn that and be connected with people and work in community is amazing. So first off, that's really sick.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we created it, you know, to be obviously useful.
Mm-hmm.
We also created it to be like more fun and more accessible. Like, I think it's hard right now for a lot of different types of designers and different types of disciplines at any level. And so if we felt that if we were gonna build a community, we wanted to build it right. We wanted to build it with other like-minded individuals. We wanted to build it with like dope guest speakers that will provide as inspiration or potential mentorship or something for the students and graduates. We wanted to, sure, we'll like go over like the stuff you'd expect. We'll go over like the portfolio crits and like that kind of stuff. But we also really care about, after like doing multiple cohorts, people really care about being able to network with each other. People really care about like talking about, in a no bullshit way, talking about the actual problems we're actually talking about and we're actually experiencing. So like, how do I communicate better to my boss? Like, how do I divest and decolonize and not do the quote unquote like trendy white design, design of brands? Like, how do we do all these types of things? And so what I've noticed from the designers is, when we're able to talk about real issues and have this kind of whole community-minded mindset, the outcomes happen, and people feel really good about it. And we've just like built something that's really nice. And so I'm still trying to figure out what the next iteration of this thing is. But in the meantime, we're going to continue doing more classes. We're going to continue getting super dope sponsors like we have. We're going to continue getting super dope students and just having a blast. This is a lot of fun. It's hard work. Like, if you're a student that was part of Useful School, it's hard work. But we're hoping, given what we've seen in the past, you know, there's really good outcomes, and people feel really great.
That's dope. Yeah, I love it. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see where it goes and like what does up look like from here, because it's already a big step. Like that's really dope.